Welcome back to another UNC Tar Heels football recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, that is called Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our director of football recruiting, Miss Deana King. And Deana, the pops keep on coming for the Tar Heels. The class of 2023 is starting to fill up for Mack Brown and Gene Chizik and Tim Cross and Tommy Thigpen and Dre Bly. And all those guys are getting some defensive dudes here as Tyler Thompson, a three-star defensive end from Panther Creek High School in nearby Cary, North Carolina, has announced he will play for the Tar Heels. 6'5", 200 pounds, a frame that can take a lot more and will get a lot more once he arrives. He picked Carolina over Michigan, Virginia Tech, and Louisville, also offering Maryland, Wake Forest, West Virginia. The number 64 overall prospect nationally at his position, nationally, number 23 overall in the state of North Carolina. So your thoughts on Tyler Thompson popping for the Tar Heels?
Thompson, another kid that was on this big LICE recruiting weekend, took an official visit at North Carolina with 17 other kids. Huge pickup, in-state guy that, you know how much Coach Brown loves to keep the in-state guys at Chapel Hill. So saw him at Rivals Camp. He came there kind of a little bit under the radar. But since like several of these kids, a lot of these kids have really gained a lot of attention, college-wise, media attention-wise, during these camp series. I mean, I saw him at Rivals Camp. That time he was just, had a few offers. Really wasn't on my radar at that time, but after having a very solid performance there, and he started picking up some more offers. So it's a huge pickup. He plays at Panther Creek, who's Coach Sean Crocker, who played at Carolina. It's a big pickup for them to get a kid in the Raleigh, the Triangle, the Research Triangle area, a local kid. So like you mentioned, 6'5", 6'6". I think he's at that defensive end jack position that they're going to be using at Carolina. So big pickup.
There was a lot of wind lately, or set, or whatever you want to call it, toward Michigan, especially late. And you were hearing something a little bit different from some circles, but a lot of others were kind of pushing Michigan. What was going on with all that?
With Michigan, there's they're a national brand, a lot of tradition. Coach Harbaugh has coached everywhere, NFL, college, has a really big, nice coaching bloodline there. And so, they're one of the programs that a lot of kids you just are in awe to go see them. You go up to Ann Arbor and see their stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in college football, the big maize and blue, the maize and blue and gold M's everywhere. And so just a huge program. And, I think he really liked Michigan, but I think the being close at home at UNC was probably the deciding factor. He wanted to play so his family can see him and get a good education here, can get what he could get at, out of Michigan or Virginia Tech right here at UNC, both academically and athletically.
Interesting that he's listed as defensive end, and you mentioned also the jack position, which is kind of, it's what like Noah Taylor's going to play this year. He's a traditional outside linebacker. Des Evans was moved. I mean, we were just talking to Tim Cross last week. He said, "Hey, I got Des Evans in my room now because he's putting a hand on the ground." So is Thompson sort of a tweener? Like when he gets there, they're going to look at him and say, "Okay, you're either going to go jack, or you're going to go DE." or because I don't think they're going to do much of the hybrid stuff there, or is he maybe the prototype of potentially some hybrid down the road?
Well, you mentioned Noah. I've been around the program actually when we had our meetings with the coaches of the day. Noah actually got in the elevator with me and Brandon P when we was going down to the lobby. So I think Tyler's length and his size is very similar to Noah. But, like you said, when they get them down there, I'm sure they'll know where exactly they want to put them. Desmond Evans, we all know that he was just better with a hand on the ground coming and just going and getting the quarterback and not going out and covering, running backs or slot backs out in the defense and stuff. So believe Thompson is going to improve that room wherever it is, the jack room, because they're going to need some jacks in their system.
Absolutely. Des not just will be better with the hand on the ground, but a lot happier too, might I add. With that 200 pounds with Thompson, just to stay on that for a minute, if you look at his tape, and I have not seen him in person, but it looks like someone that, if they decided to say, hey, put a hand on the ground, go get the quarterback, he could absorb, he could handle 55 pounds or whatever it is they would put on him. But if they say, hey, be a jack and go run around at 225, it looks like that he might be that kind of dude that can do that too. And one of the things I like about some of the kids they're starting to bring in, they might be a little bit under the radar, but they look like kids that when they arrive, they could end up a couple of different places. So they're gonna fit whatever the staff sees in person instead of recruiting them to a specific spot now entirely and then trying to force them into that once they get there. I think he's the kind of kid you just bring in, suit him up, let him go through. I don't know if he's an early enrollee or not, but let him go through what he's got to go through early on. And they'll just kind of figure things out after he gets there. To me, when you get a 6'5", 200 kid that can move like him, that's the best way to approach it. And it appears that's what they're doing.
Yeah. I love his athletic ability, when watching him at Rivals camp and everything. It's just he's a versatile guy. I think he even played basketball because Panther Creek had a really good basketball team. So we know how Mack and staff love kids that are multi-sport players. So it's a good pickup, a solid pickup, an in-state pickup. And, I think this year they're going to try to get a lot of the in-state kids, they'll eventually do that, I believe, but he's one of them, and he's a solid pickup.
Little hoops connection. Current Tar Heel Justin McCoy also went to Panther Creek High School in Cary, went to UVA, ended up back in Chapel Hill.
Tyler Thompson won't have to switch colors either. Panther Creek is a little Carolina blue and navy, the catamount. So
there you go.
Likes that color.
You got to love it to wear it for high school and college. And a lot of these kids absolutely love that look. So no doubt about it. Tyler Thompson, 3-star defensive end, class of 2023, Panther Creek High School in Cary. He is the latest member of the class to commit to play football at North Carolina. She is Deana King. I'm Andrew Jones. We appreciate you stopping by.